Scott Spilky. I'm so depressed. I'm so depressed. A motivational speech. I am so depressed. A motivational speech. Scott Spilky.
May 24th, 2021. It was 2 a.m. on a Monday, and I couldn't sleep. I was anxious, depressed, and I had thoughts about taking my own life. How did I get there? Two things had happened. One, I had broken up with a girl that I thought I was in love with. We had only dated for a few months, but I pictured our lives together. It didn't work out that way. It ended. It hurt. The second thing that happened is that I spent Sunday saying goodbye to my beloved pet cat of many years, Maggie. And although the vet said that there was nothing we could have done for Maggie, she had incurable stomach cancer, I blamed myself. I thought if I hadn't been so absorbed in my own breakup, I might have seen the signs. And so at 2 a.m. on a Monday, I stewed in my own blend of blame and self-hatred, and I could not forgive myself. I ended up calling a crisis hotline, and although the person I spoke to had no answers, I felt better. I hung up the phone, and as the sun came up, I slowly began to gather some compassion for myself. I realized no matter what happened, good or bad, life goes on, and I had to deal with my feelings and come to terms with the losses in my life. For most of my life, I have dealt with depression, and I know I am not alone. The World Health Organization estimates that more than 300 million people, or 5% of the worldwide population, may be suffering from depression. Most tragic of all, each year, more than 800,000 people across the globe die by suicide. This is one person every 40 seconds. Yes, depression can kill you. At this point, many of you may be thinking, this is not a very good motivational speech, but I want you to stick with me because I'm actually going to leave you today with some motivational techniques that have helped me deal with depression. Technique number one is to talk about it. It is a myth that talking about it increases depression or even the likelihood of suicide. In fact, it is the exact opposite, because talking about it is like putting a release valve on a balloon. Without it, that balloon will get bigger and bigger until it pops. Talking to someone, whether that is a pastor, a therapist, or a trusted friend, it can really help. It has helped me. Recently, the rapper Logic had a song, 800-273-2255, about calling into that number at the National Suicide Hotline. That song has more than 400 million views on YouTube. And what they found was that after Logic's song was released, calls to the crisis hotline went up, but the suicide rate went down. Don't suffer in silence. It only makes it worse. The second technique for dealing with depression is to change your own thoughts. Cognitive therapy is one of the best research forms of therapy around. It is based on the idea that our thoughts affect our feelings. And if we can learn to identify negative, distorted thoughts and replace them with more positive, realistic thoughts, it can alleviate depression. This has helped me. One thought I had after my breakup was that I may be alone forever. In hindsight, I realized that this was a distortion. It was possible to meet someone else and have a nice relationship. The third and final technique for dealing with depression is to get moving. We all know the benefits that exercise can have for our overall health, but it can be especially effective in the treatment of depression. Because when you get moving, you fire up endorphins, and this chemical produces positive feelings in your brain. Some studies show that even moderate exercise can be as effective as taking antidepressants for someone with mild depression. But again, check with your doctor. I am an avid bicyclist, and I feel so great when I do a long bike ride. My brain is in a positive place, and it is difficult to be depressed. My fellow Toastmasters, I was hesitant, to say the least, to share my experiences with depression because I thought I might be judged. But we don't judge a diabetic who uses insulin. Why should we judge someone who has depression, who may need treatment? There is so much stigma talking about it, but there doesn't have to be. I wanted to share my experience dealing with depression because I wanted anyone else out there who may have that moment at 2 a.m, like I did. I want that person to know that there are techniques to deal with depression, talking about it, changing your thoughts, exercise, and so many other ways that can help you, like it's helped me, get better.